Welcome to the prophetic speed painting for the week of the 28th of June, 2009. This is entitled, Seeing the Lord Like David Did. King David says in the Psalms that he always set the Lord in front of himself. How does a person do that? When he went into battle, he was aware of the Lord being at his right hand. Any soldier today would want that. Any soldier any time would have liked it. Think of the beaches at Normandy on D-Day and what it would have meant to run for shore with him splashing alongside. Ever since becoming a Christian, I've known such a thing to be possible and have done it. For me, it goes something like this. Before we'd start a meeting, I'd call on the Lord's own Spirit to make known to us what he was up to that evening. Then I'd check out in my mind's eye where the Lord might be standing or sitting in the room. Instantly, I'd get an impression, a picture in my imagination, of Jesus himself. It never failed. It never was how I'd expected him to be, for the simple reason I never did it with any expectations in mind. I gave him a blank slate. A lot of times he showed himself busy at something opposite to our agenda. What he wore, what he was doing, spoke of his heart for that session. Once, when it felt like we were all in for a time of being comforted and blessed and would only have to relax and receive, he showed up out of breath and in workman's clothes, as if he'd been out hard at work and wanted to keep on. We knew to gear up for action, and that we were supposed to stay on the job. That night, the group went straight into strong praise, prayer, and intercession until we got a breakthrough in a tough situation we knew was facing us. Without joining him, we'd have missed that speedy victory. Was it just imagination or a real showing? For one thing, whenever we tried to proceed without checking for his direction for the night, getting the meeting going felt like trying to force a mud wall to move. Once we got a viewing of him, though, and gave way to it, it was like the heavens opened up. Revelations came in, power flowed, people got joy-filled and of one mind, and it felt like sailing. But there were more confirmations than that. Once he showed himself in a Jewish butcher's outfit and was wiping a blade off on his sleeve. The rule of thumb was to delve into the details of the image to get the details of his message. I recalled that a Jewish butcher is different from a Gentile one in that he always removes the main nerve from the thigh as a token of God's chastening of Jacob, and I noted the Lord was clearly showing that it was a thing that had already been accomplished. The next day, a seriously backsliding teenager in our group was in a car accident and was miraculously saved from death, but sustained a broken thigh. Via all of us praying, it healed in record time. His one loss was that the main nerve had to be removed from it. We could have been shattered about the whole thing, especially as his unbelieving family started a vendetta against our group because of it. The Lord had actually wakened his sister 6 months before, urging her to get him to return to his faith within that 6 months, since the enemy meant to take him out within that time period. She had pleaded with us to do something, and we'd begun praying regularly for him. He had only come back out of rebelling into drugs and drinking 5 days before the crash. He got in under the wire, but not without a permanent Jacob limp from the Lord, so he'd take dipping into enemy territory seriously, and also his father's warnings. And we were held steady through the aftermath of their hurt reaction, seeing God had had it all in hand. So yes, the Lord can really give showings of himself. We felt his presence, his message, his being with us every time. It was all a question of seeing. And it only takes attempting to look to do it. The Holy Spirit oversees the rest. David seems to have done it a lot. And now you might want to, too.